I'd like to call our meeting to order with a quick roll call. Regent Aker.
Present.
Regent Bean.
Here.
Regent Bernstein.
Present.
Regent Brown.
Here.
Regent Hubbard.
Here.
Regent Illich.
Present.
Regent Myers.
Present.
And Regent White.
Here.
We will begin with presentations of our proposed 2026-2027 operating budgets for Ann Arbor, Flint, and Dearborn campuses. Today, we are sharing a comprehensive university budget to ensure that society continues to look to Michigan for impact and service. The true health of a democratic society is reflected in how the bottom 50% fare at the supermarket rather than how the top 10% fare in the stock market. Before I invite our university leaders to present the details of their budgets, I want to highlight the path-breaking Go Blue Guarantee, the University of Michigan's most significant driver of social mobility. We are unwavering in our commitment to in-state students and their families, ensuring they have access to a world-class Michigan education, and not just access, but affordability, regardless of their financial circumstances. We were one of the first universities in the nation to offer a tuition-free program. Today, the University of Michigan's Go Blue Guarantee is the most generous public university tuition guarantee program in the country. Qualifying undergraduates from families earning up to $125,000 can attend any of the 3 campuses tuition-free. We know from our students that the Go Blue Guarantee makes a profound difference. They tell us they are grateful. Yet, we are the ones who benefit when they join our community, receive a Michigan education, and then contribute to society. The Go Blue Guarantee was a bold and visionary commitment by this board and President Schlissel in 2018. Since launching the program for Ann Arbor campus, we have been aggressive in expanding the pledge. We added the Dearborn and Flint campuses in 2022, deepening their missions as campuses of opportunity. This year, we reached a major milestone by expanding eligibility to families with up to $125,000 in family income and family assets. That income level represents 75% of all Michigan households. We have also expanded the Go Blue Guarantee support to cover full attendance costs for students in high-demand public service professions such as nursing, teaching, and social work. Each time we adjust eligibility for this program, we are widening the doors for Michigan residents. Since 2018, a 4-fold increase reflects the growth of thousands of students and parents who are now part of the Michigan community. Another advantage is that Michigan continues to meet 100% of the demonstrated financial need of eligible in-state students beyond the Go Blue Guarantee with grants and loans. The Go Blue Guarantee is for Michigan residents, but it's a national model. In fact, we are leaders and best at making an exceptional education affordable. We stand above flagship peers such as Virginia, Texas, North Carolina, and several Big Ten universities. The Go Blue Guarantee is not an outlier. It is an integral part of a financial aid program that draws upon state, federal, and philanthropic funds. Combined, these programs provide more than $500 million in support to undergraduates. I want to say that again, $500 million to support our students. 1 in 3 in-state students pays no tuition to attend any of our campuses. This is how we remain an economic engine for our state, making the most prestigious education also the most accessible. This is how we invest in social mobility and in our collective future. Michigan is consistently ranked among the best value in higher education nationally. Across income groups, our campuses are the most affordable. Behind every data point I've shared today is a life transformed. Add it all up, and the result is thousands of students no longer forced to choose between education and economic uncertainty. We are investing in students, and they are investing in their futures. Over 20 years, the return on investment in a Michigan education on all three campuses exceeds the national median for bachelor's degree recipients. Crucially, we are reducing the burden of student debt. Today, nearly 2/3 of our in-state Ann Arbor undergraduates graduate debt-free. In a moment, we will present the proposed 2026-27 operating budgets for all campuses. Board members will be familiar with the details given our informal discussions and scenarios. These budgets reflect strategic planning, a commitment to academic excellence, access, and student well-being, and an investment in service to society. This is why the nation looks to Michigan. Your support for our budgets is an endorsement of the Go Blue Guarantee, a commitment to affordability and access, and most importantly, a vote for Michigan families. I'd now like to turn it over to Provost McCauley to discuss the general fund budget.
Thank you, President Grasso. It is my pleasure to present our proposed fiscal 2027 general fund budget and housing rates for the Ann Arbor campus. For the 18th year in a row, our proposed budget delivers a 0% increase in net tuition cost for Michigan resident undergraduates with financial need. That commitment is backed by $12.3 million in incremental financial aid, a 3.8% increase, which fully offsets the proposed tuition and fee increases for resident undergraduates with demonstrated need and includes our Go Blue Guarantee, the public university gold standard. Overall, we are budgeting $335 million to support undergraduate grant aid. We are proposing a 3.0% combined tuition and fee increase for resident undergraduates. This figure is in line with projected inflation, with the tuition-only portion at 2.9%, which is actually below inflation. Tuition and fees for non-resident undergraduates and most graduate programs would increase by 4.9%. Housing rates are proposed to increase by 6%, aligned with a long-term plan for student housing improvements. In every budget, we aim to make strategic investments in our excellence. Our Look to Michigan theme year will be human health and well-being, and that focus is visible across this budget. First, this budget supports investments in cutting-edge fields designed to enhance U of M's ability to make major advances on the frontiers of modern medicine. We're also adding resources to more safely manage our research activity and comply with an increasingly complex federal regulatory environment. We are taking proactive steps to protect the continuity of world-class scholarship that defines Michigan's research leadership. This includes programs to bridge research funding gaps and retooling efforts to help faculty pursue new extramural funding sources. Campus life will see meaningful new investments with the launch of housing and recreation facilities that will fundamentally reshape how students live and connect on campus. Student well-being is a thread running through this budget. Support for this budget enables an expansion of teletherapy services that provide 24/7 access to students, whether they're on campus, home for the summer, or studying abroad. Individual schools and colleges are also expanding mental health and wellness programming within their communities. This budget also includes targeted investments in academic infrastructure, including a new technology platform that modernizes our advising systems university-wide. We are excited for the launch of curricular approaches that connect different disciplines to help students solve real-world problems. We are also updating classrooms and labs to accommodate growing enrollment and evolving pedagogical needs. I want to be candid about the challenges that we're navigating and how they're factored into our budget development. While the state budget is not final, we anticipate a 0% increase to our state appropriation. For a growing campus facing inflationary pressures, flat funding functions as a real budget cut. We're grateful, however, that the state appears committed to including Michigan Achievement Scholarship funding, which we expect will support over 7,000 of our resident students this fall. Federal research funding is a significant external pressure. While we are modeling a small uptick in indirect cost recovery over last year's budget, we anticipate operating with $40 million less in federal indirect cost revenue than we received 2 years ago. Looking ahead, current national projections suggest a 20 to 30% reduction in federal research funding through fiscal year 2029. While domestic demand for a University of Michigan education remains exceptionally strong, we see a softening in international graduate student enrollment, a trend reflecting broader global market shifts. On the cost side, mandatory expenses continue to outpace general inflation. Healthcare benefits are up 7.2%, as are insurance and utility costs. We've also accounted for a 3% merit program for most faculty and staff, with collective bargaining commitments funded per their respective contracts. Meeting these costs is possible thanks to the annual cost containment we require of each budgeted unit. This proposed balanced budget reflects disciplined stewardship in a challenging environment. It protects our most financially vulnerable students, invests strategically in our academic and research mission, and positions the university to remain resilient as external conditions continue to evolve. This budget is a result of a true campus-wide partnership to steward our resources and advance our mission. I'm grateful to the Provost Budget Team led by Tom Finholt, to our board, and to everyone working to uphold our excellence and ensure the world continues to look to Michigan. Thank you.
Thank you, Provost McCauley. I'd now like to turn to Dr. Julie Ishak, U of M Health Chief Nurse and Operations Executive, and she will present on the U of M Health budget.
Good afternoon. Thank you, President Grasso. I'm grateful to be here with you and members of the Board of Regents representing our incredible teams at Michigan Medicine. Today, I'm pleased to provide an overview of Michigan Medicine's FY27 operating plan, including our progress over the past year, the impact that we're having across the state, and the priorities that will guide our work in the year ahead. As we navigate a rapidly evolving healthcare environment, our focus remains steadfast: advancing our mission to improve health, expanding access to high-quality care, and investing in innovation to serve the people of Michigan and beyond. Our mission remains the foundation of everything that we do. Every strategic decision, operational investment, and the clinical initiatives is grounded in advancing health for the people of Michigan and beyond. We continue to balance our tripartite mission of patient care, research, and education while serving increasingly complex patient and community needs. Michigan Medicine's strong base and bold future framework reflects our aspiration to become the most consequential academic health system in the world. This framework serves as our roadmap, helping align our efforts and resources around 5 strategic priorities: belonging, access, safety, experience, and growth. Across our clinical, research, and educational missions, teams work together to advance these priorities while delivering exceptional care, driving discovery, and educating future leaders and expanding our impact across Michigan. This work is grounded in our core values of caring, innovation, inclusion, integrity, and teamwork. Together, these priorities and values guide our efforts to advance health and serve Michigan. We've made meaningful progress across all 5 base priorities. In belonging, we've reduced disparities in key population health measures and improved preventative care for children. In access, we've improved patient flow and expanded access to care across our ambulatory specialties. In safety, we continue to reduce preventable harm. And in experience, we've acted directly on team member feedback to reduce administrative burden. In growth, we successfully opened the D-Dan and Betty Kahn Healthcare Pavilion, one of the most significant milestones in our recent history. Together, these accomplishments demonstrate how our values and strategic priorities work hand in hand. Quality and safety remain our highest priorities. We have seen sustained improvement in adult mortality outcomes, reflecting the commitment of our clinical teams and ongoing efforts to improve care delivery. We also reduced catheter-associated urinary tract infections and patient safety indicator events, demonstrating our progress in preventing avoidable harm. And these outcomes reflect the effectiveness of our quality infrastructure, our data-driven improvement efforts, and frontline engagement. In our community, the Ypsilanti Health Center continues to demonstrate the impact of bringing comprehensive care closer to the communities we serve. Over the past year, more than 53,000 visits were delivered, including nearly 9,000 new patient visits. This center has become an important access point for specialty care, imaging services, and behavioral health programs. The Child and Adolescent Partial Hospitalization Program continues to generate strong outcomes and positive patient feedback. Beyond healthcare, Maggie's Marketplace addresses social determinants of health by helping hundreds of individuals each month access nutritious food. Together, these efforts reflect our commitment to improving health outcomes and community well-being. Our regional strategy focuses on expanding access while ensuring patients can benefit from the expertise of Michigan medicine regardless of where they live. At U of M Health Sparrow, the partnership with Shepherd Pratt represents an important step in expanding behavioral health capacity and improving care coordination. Precision oncology is another example of how we are leveraging innovation to transform care. Through genomic profiling, multidisciplinary expertise, and clinical trial access, we are helping to ensure patients across our statewide network can receive highly personalized cancer care. Michigan medicine continues to serve patients at an unprecedented scale. In FY27, we anticipate more than 97,000 inpatient admissions and approximately 5 million outpatient visits. These volumes reflect both growing demand and the trust that patients place in our health system. Our challenge moving forward is to ensure we continue to meet this demand while maintaining excellence in quality, safety, and patient experience. But FY27 does present a challenging financial environment for healthcare organizations nationwide. We are planning responsibly while continuing to invest in strategic priorities. For the Academic Medical Center, maintaining financial stability will require disciplined expense management and continued operational efficiency. Within the regional network, the loss of federal pharmacy discount eligibility creates additional financial pressure that we must proactively address. Despite these challenges, we remain committed to key strategic investments, including behavioral health expansion, ambulatory growth, and technology modernization. Our focus is balancing fiscal stewardship with continued investment in the future of the organization. We are pleased to share that we've reached a framework agreement with Blue Cross Blue Shield that protects access to care for our patients. And as we look ahead, our priorities remain clear. We will continue advancing our base framework while building our strong foundation on clinical excellence. We will strengthen alignment across the academic health system and further integrate our statewide network. We will continue to lead through innovation in patient care, research, and education. And most importantly, we will remain focused on improving health and strengthening our connections with communities throughout Michigan. Thank you for your continued partnership and support as we move forward together.
Thank you, Dr. Ishak. I'd now like to turn to Vice Chancellor for Business Affairs, Brian Dady, who will present on the U of M Dearborn budget.
Good afternoon. You hear me all right? Good afternoon, President Grasso, Chair Bernstein, and members of the board. Thank you for the opportunity to present the University of Michigan Dearborn fiscal year 2027 general fund budget, which reflects discipline and stewardship of the university's resources. While preparing this budget, we put student, faculty, and staff success, as well as financial viability, at the forefront. Our campus is delivering on affordability, accessibility, and student outcomes. 41% of first-year students pay no tuition, and 30% of our students are eligible for the Go Blue Guarantee. For the first time in our history, our 6-year graduation rate exceeds 60%, and our pre-med students continue to achieve medical school acceptance rates that far exceed the national average. Our recent R2 Carnegie classification recognizes Dearborn's significant growth in research funding over the recent years, and the enhanced investment in internal research programs with a focus of expanding undergraduate research experiences. To sustain this momentum, we are navigating through significant headwinds. Fiscal year 2027 presents a compounding set of financial pressures: continued decline in our international student enrollment, stagnant state support, where Dearborn remains one of the lowest funded public universities in Michigan, research funding pressures, and our aging facilities that require significant investment. Our fiscal year 2027 budget was developed with prudent and responsible decision-making, balancing financial constraints without compromising our mission and values. We are proposing a 3.8% increase in our undergraduate tuition and fees. The increase is exclusively from tuition, as the recurring student fees will remain flat. Non-resident undergraduate tuition and fees are proposed to increase by 3.8% and graduate programs by 3.9%. We have conservatively assumed a flat state appropriation and a decline of 8% for indirect cost recovery. As I noted earlier, our budget was significantly impacted by the sharp decline in international student enrollment, as well as continued cost inflation, most notably in health insurance and contractual obligations. Our campus prudently enacted strategic cost containment strategies across the colleges and administrative units, resulting in $5 million of budget reductions in order to achieve a balanced budget. In spite of the tight budget conditions, we are supporting one-time payments for most faculty and staff and remain committed to investing in strategic priorities, including internal research, marketing and advertising, academic program development, and capital improvements. This concludes the Dearborn presentation, and we respectfully request approval of the fiscal year 2027 general fund budget for our campus. Thank you.
Brian, I'd now like to turn to Chancellor Alexander, who will present on the Flint budget.
Thank you, President Grasso. This year, the University of Michigan Flint is celebrating the 70th anniversary of our campus. This offers an opportunity to reflect on the history of excellence as the Flint campus continues its rise as a regional university powerhouse for workforce development, social mobility, and economic development. U of M Flint continues to carry out its mission by providing access, opportunity, and affordability to students in our region and beyond. Therefore, our budget plan includes strategic approaches to increase overall enrollment for the 4th consecutive year, following the last 3 years of enrollment growth year over year, with the greatest enrollment percentage increase in the state over the last 2 years, making the U of M Flint the fastest growing university in Michigan. Part of that rise is attributed to a $5 million annual investment in the campus from the University of Michigan that has financed startup programs, faculty support, marketing, and deferred maintenance. Student success remains at the forefront of our efforts to prepare the next generation of leaders. As President Grasso indicated in his presentation, the Go Blue Guarantee is having a profound effect on affordability on the Flint campus. We're also focused on gaining on another annual increase in the first time in college student retention rate, as well as overall retention, which not only undergirds enrollment growth, but helps improve our graduation success rates for the future. In addition, we're nearing completion of Phase 1 of our Innovation and Technology Complex and awaiting legislative authorization to begin Phase 2, which will amount to a combined total investment of $60 million in specialized labs and spaces for program growth in cybersecurity, data science, clean energy, advanced manufacturing, artificial intelligence, data visualization, biotechnology, and bioprinting. It also enables us to continue to study ways to enhance the student experience with the proposed introduction of intercollegiate athletics at the Flint campus by 2028. Our proposal specifically calls for a 4.1% increase in tuition and fees for resident undergraduate programs, which is within the state cap, and a 4% increase for resident graduate programs, and a 4.2% increase in non-resident undergraduate and most graduate programs. Housing will increase 5%, but our rates will remain near the lowest in our state. For state appropriations, we're awaiting the outcome of state budget deliberations. We anticipate an additional $350,000 in indirect cost recovery for research. This is a direct result of the extraordinary increase in research productivity of grants on our campus. We also propose a 3% merit program for most employees and increases for collective bargaining groups as indicated in their contracts. This proposal will provide the resources necessary for our campus to carry out our operations, advance our priorities, and continue fulfilling the mission and vision of U of M Flint. President Grasso, that concludes my budget presentation, and I thank our regents for their support.
Thank you, Chancellor Alexander. I'd now like to turn to our final budget presentation. EVP Hewlett will present the athletics budget and the university's consolidated revenue and expenditure operating budget.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would first like to provide a summary of the fiscal 27 budget for the athletic department. Budgeted revenues are $297.3 million, and budgeted expenditures are $297.3 million, thus projecting a balanced budget for the fiscal year. Budgeted revenues for fiscal 27 are projected to be $15.3 million higher than they were in fiscal 26. Budgeted expenses are projected to increase by a very similar amount at $15.5 million compared to fiscal 26. These increases are primarily due to three factors: a greater number of events. We have 8 home football games and 2 concerts this year, compared to 6 home football games and 1 concert in fiscal 26. The ongoing changes to student-athlete revenue sharing and inflation in general. Our budget dollars reflect continued investment in the success of our athletic department, which this year won a national team championship, 2 individual national championships, and 7 Big Ten championships. Our athletic department continues to explore incremental forms of revenue generation, including through the initiation of a search for a chief revenue officer. Next, we have the university's consolidated operating budget for fiscal 27. We project revenues of $16.8 billion and expenses of $16.6 billion. Any excess funds will be allocated to support long-term strategic priorities. Continuing our practices of financial discipline and targeted resource allocation, the fiscal 27 budget reflects key investments in student financial aid and our workforce, among other examples of investing in our core missions and strategic aims across the university. It also reflects the activation of Wolverine Village and the Eisenberg Troy Center for Specialty Care. The university continues to take measures to ensure U of M's financial stability in our changing environment, carefully monitoring any potential changes to our missions. The university's strong financial position was recently validated with a reaffirmation of our long-term bond rating of AAA with a stable outlook. In partnership with the executive team of the university, I submit the fiscal 27 consolidated operating budget.
Thank you very much, Bobby. And I want to thank everyone for presenting such thoughtful, strategic, and compelling budgets. Are there any questions or comments before we vote? Okay. Okay. Denise?
Yes. I'd like to thank everybody for all the work on the budgets. I get to see a little bit behind the scenes, and everybody just has done a great job, and it's an enormous amount of work, so thank you for that. I wanted to just cover a couple areas that I think need to be addressed in future budgets. Some of it has been addressed in the current budget, but three areas I'd like to discuss. The first is that students are our highest priority, and we're all here because of the students and educating them. And we lost 3 students this past year, which is heartbreaking, it's tragic, and it's unacceptable. And in this budget, the provost has assured me that we have very strong mental health resources and that we model other universities. But I do want to encourage the administration, when doing budgets, is there more we could do? Is there more resources, more programs in order to try to not have a student death at the University of Michigan? I think about it all the time, and I'd like to see a day where we don't lose a student ever at the University of Michigan. Secondly, we have students that are food insecure, and our food insecurity is growing. And so I want to encourage students, both from a mental standpoint, physical, any mental, physical needs, food needs, to please ask for help and reach out. But I would like to, again, challenge our university to solve this problem, to devote more resources so that we don't have food insecurity for our students. No student should be hungry. No Michigan student should be hungry or be food insecure. And with all the excitement around the Go Blue guarantee and us trying to investing in students, I don't see why we can't satisfy the financial need to assure that students are not food insecure. And third, I know that we're working very hard on capital projects and deferred maintenance, but I would like to see a significant improvement at Markley. So I have received multiple complaints over a long period of time about a significant pest issue at Markley. And I would like to see us invest in fixing that issue and improving the dorms. It's unacceptable that our students are living in one of our dorms with a significant pest issue. So I ask that that be fixed as soon as possible. I don't think it's going to be fixed in this budget. I know it's being addressed, but I certainly am laying the groundwork for the next budget to take another shot at trying to help this problem, alleviate this problem. Any Markley students that want to reach out to me, please do so. I'll be visiting the dorms soon. I'm probably going to wait till September so that I can interact with students directly, but I just want to be very public and transparent about this and ask that you all reach out. My email address is on the Regent website, and I look forward to alleviating this issue. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Illich. Are there any other comments? Regent Brown?
I just have a quick question about the Ann Arbor tuition increase. Obviously, it's below inflation, which is great, but any increase on our students and families today is difficult. And you mentioned that about a third of our in-state students are covered completely, no tuition, by the Go Blue guarantee. What percentage of our in-state students get some level of tuition financial support?
Yeah, thank you, Regent Brown. 72% of our in-state undergraduates receive some financial aid. As you said, about a third pay no tuition at all. Mm-hmm. And even for families with incomes up to 180,000, they still qualify for significant financial aid.
Thank you.
I forgot one point.
Okay, Regent Illich?
I'm sorry, I forgot one other point. we are having a meeting in July, the board is, and we're going to be talking about the future of athletics. And I wanted to just give a very quick update on women's hockey. We have been working on women's hockey for 2 years. We have a really great committee, and this is something we're going to specifically address in July. I just want to add 2 points. One is that women's sports is exploding. It's experiencing unprecedented growth in attendance, sponsorship, media rights, and fan engagements. Whether it's the WNBA, the PWHL, NCAA volleyball, NCAA softball, NCAA women's basketball, the Olympics, women's hockey is benefiting from this same upward trajectory around the nation. I'm sure you've read how popular women's hockey has become. We have a new hockey team, a women's hockey team in Detroit. In the first 24 hours, we sold 3,400 season tickets, which is pretty remarkable. So Michigan really has an opportunity to lead. We have historically been a national leader in collegiate athletics, and we have the opportunity to establish leadership in one of the fastest growing sectors of college sports. So I hope that when I speak about the budget again, after our meeting in July, we will have a line item, which will be for a new women's hockey team. So thank you, and that's the update for all of the advocates for a women's hockey team. Thanks.
Thank you, Regent Illich. Are there any other comments? Okay, is there a motion for approval of the FY 26-27 revenue and expenditure operating budget? Which includes all the budgets. Thank you. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes. Thank you very much. Now on to the regular meeting agenda. Today's meeting includes a transition in our board's leadership. I would like to thank Regent Bernstein for his service and dedication to the board, dedication as the board chair. Mark, I am very grateful for your leadership and conversations that we've had. All of us appreciate your commitment to Michigan. Regent Bean will begin serving as chair at our July meeting. We look forward to him for his guidance and insight as the board recruits and appoints the next president. And I know more than anyone else looks forward to that. Earlier this week, we were surprised and saddened to learn that Dusty May, head coach of our men's basketball team, is leaving Michigan for the NBA. Dusty restored our program to greatness and led this year's team to a national championship. 2 nights ago, 3 members of that team were selected in the first round of the NBA draft, including one Wolverine who will continue to play for Dusty. Moving to the NBA is an opportunity for Dusty to further elevate his career, and we wish him all the best. His departure, however, is a bellwether for college athletics. Our current system is in dire need of clarity and equitable reform. Coach May told me that among his reasons for leaving were uncertainties and pressures involving the transfer portal and NIL support for student athletes. He and I agreed that the future of college sports is headed in the wrong direction. Congress is currently considering the Protect College Sports Act to provide greater stability, clearer national standards, and more consistent rules governing athlete compensation and competition. It includes many positive features that we support strongly. However, this legislation contains deeply concerning provisions. Rather than looking to conferences such as the Big Ten as models of athletic and academic excellence, it imposes restrictions that disproportionately affect the institution and conferences that have been the most successful in serving student athletes and building nationally competitive programs. Among the most troubling provisions are targeted limits on conference expansion and realignment, as well as harmful restrictions on student athletes' ability to benefit from additional NIL opportunities. These measures would reduce universities and conferences' flexibility to adapt to changing conditions and pursue innovative opportunities. We want what's best for the Big Ten and for Michigan. We are not going to sacrifice the competitive advantage that we have built for more than a century. We stand ready to work with legislators on a bill that will establish a system in which every university can compete and thrive for generations to come. Since we last met, Michigan Medicine and Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan have reached a contract framework that ensures coverage and care for thousands of Michigan residents. I want to thank Dr. David Miller, Dr. Julie Ishak, and their team for their dedication to seeing that Blue Cross patients throughout our state continue to have access to exceptional health care. I know the negotiations were intense, and we are all grateful for this new long-term contract and for our continued partnership with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Michigan. Thank you, David. Our meeting next month, as Regent Illich pointed out, will be in Traverse City, continuing the recent trend of gathering outside of Ann Arbor, Dearborn, and Flint. The board has previously convened in Grand Rapids, St. Ignace, and Petoskey. We will meet on July 16th. Before we return, oh, right now? Okay. Okay, I'm done. Okay. Okay.
Are you completed?
Yes, okay.
I just can't let it go by without acknowledging Regent Bernstein's work as chair. So, and I know all my colleagues will agree, but I just want to thank you publicly and on the record for the work that you've done. I really admire your work ethic. I don't think I can find words to say how hard you worked this past year, given some of the projects that we've had. So you have participated in 2 back-to-back presidential searches, and you've chaired them. Being a former co-chair of a search, it is an enormous amount of work and time. And so we thank you, and I thank you for that. You have helped us navigate really difficult, complex issues and projects, and you've done so with grace and being incredibly smart and very thoughtful. And you have been a very, very strong advocate for the University of Michigan. You also have helped us navigate through a myriad of controversies throughout this past year and throughout your chairmanship. And again, you've done so with grace and peace as best you can have during controversies. And then, of course, you talked about Michigan Medicine and that negotiation, and Regent Bernstein participated in that negotiation as well, and it ended up having a very happy ending. So I just want to thank you for a job well done.
Thank you, Regent Illich. Before we turn to our agenda, I understand that Regent Aker has some remarks.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Chair, colleagues, President Grasso, members of the university community. I want to begin today with something that I should have said sooner. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to my colleagues on this board. I'm sorry to our students, our faculty, our staff, alumni, and everyone who cares deeply about this university. I'm sorry for the distraction, the disappointment, and the pain that this situation has caused. Over the last 2 months, much has been said and written about me. Some of it, I believe, has been unfair. Some of it has felt like a deliberate attempt to define me by my worst moments and mistakes. But today is not about that. Today is about accountability. A faculty member whom I deeply respect said something to me recently that has stayed with me. They said that one thing our society needs more of is a sense of accountability. Not humiliation, not destruction, not permanent condemnation, but accountability. The ability to recognize when we have failed our own standards and to feel the weight of that failure. That observation hit me hard because regardless of legal outcomes, regardless of investigations, regardless of what anyone else concludes, I know that I've failed my own standards. There's a tendency in public life to treat every issue as a legal question. Was a law broken? Was a rule violated? Was there enough evidence? Did someone technically do something wrong? But legal standards are not the same as ethical standards. I've spent much of my life advocating for accountability from leaders and institutions. I've demanded that others live up to high expectations. It would be hypocritical of me not to hold myself to that same standard. Regardless of what anyone else says or does, the fact is that I made choices that fell short of the standards I expect from myself. It does not erase the disappointment I have caused people who believed in me. It does not erase the embarrassment that this has brought to an institution that deserves better. For that, I am genuinely sorry. I'm also sorry that it has taken me this long to say these words publicly. Part of that delay came from the difficulty of living through the last 2 months. Part of it came from listening to lawyers and advisors, and part of it came from my own instinct to defend myself. But an apology delayed is still delayed, and for that, I'm sorry as well. For those who have been hurt, disappointed, frustrated, or angry, I understand why. I do not ask for sympathy. I do not ask anyone to excuse my mistakes. I only ask that my apology be heard as sincere. The question that always follows an apology is, what happens next? I was elected to serve a term by the voters who are relying on me. I intend to fulfill that obligation by redoubling my efforts to support our community, by increasing the Go Blue Guarantee as we have done today, by adding free counseling sessions as Regent Illich discussed, by making more investments in Flint and Dearborn, by working on carbon neutrality for our campuses, for fighting for our union brothers and sisters, and doing whatever I can for our LGBTQ family. Not because this experience has changed my belief in public service. It has reinforced it. I'm going to continue fighting attempts by politicians in Washington to dictate medical decisions and undermine academic freedom. I'm going to continue confronting anti-Semitism and hatred wherever it appears on our campus. I'm going to continue working to help this university navigate the rapidly changing landscape of college athletics. And I'm going to continue advocating for students, faculty, staff, patients, and families who depend on this university. Now, I do not expect everyone to agree with that decision, but I believe that when we fail, our responsibility is not always to disappear. Sometimes our responsibility is to acknowledge our failure, accept the consequences, learn from it, and continue doing the work we were elected to do. I've made mistakes. I've fallen short of my own values. I'm ashamed of that, but I am not defeated by it. I love this university. I believe in this university, and I remain committed to serving it with humility, honesty, and renewed understanding that public trust is not something we are entitled to. It is something we earn every day. Today, I ask for no special treatment. I ask only for the opportunity to continue earning that trust. Thank you.
Regent Brown.
Yeah. Thank you. Jordan, I want you and everyone else to know we were first running mates and now colleagues and friends. And although we condemn your momentary lapse of judgment, I think it's important that you appreciate what I feel about the work you've done here and that everyone else understands that not only have you been an ally in the fight, but a leader in the fight for workers, students, especially LGBTQ family members, affordability, and Flint and Dearborn, and many, many other things that are critical to our students, faculty, staff, and the citizens of the state of Michigan. And I, for one, am glad and lucky you'll be here throughout the remainder of your term. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Brown. Regent Illich.
Yes, I just want to say that I accept your apology, and it is sincere because I know you. And I think that it's really a teachable moment for our students to be able to see that when you make a mistake, you own it, you're accountable, you apologize, and you carry on with the work. And so thank you for that. That's the best example you could ever, I think, help to give our students.
Thank you, Regent Illich. Okay, We can now move to the Regents Committee reports, and we will begin with Finance, Audit, and Investment Committee, Regent White.
Thank you, President Grasso. The Finance, Audit, and Investment Committee met this morning, including Regents Bernstein, Hubbard, Myers, and White. We met with the interim EVP and CFO Bobby Hewlett and interim VP Smith for discussions on the Enterprise Resource Planning, Audit Services, and the Investment Advisory Committee. The committee also received a financial update.
Thank you, Regent White. Health Affairs Committee, Regent Beam.
Thanks, Mr. President. The committee, including Regent Brown, myself, met with EVPMA Miller, Michigan Medicine CFO Eric Strucko, and other U of M health leaders for a financial update, clinical updates, and other reports. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Beam. Personnel, Compensation, and Governance Committee, Regent Illich.
Thank you, President Grasso. The committee, including Regents Aker, White, and Bernstein, met with Provost McCauley, Vice President Lupia, and Special Advisor to the President, Tammy Strickman, for a discussion on campus anti-Semitism. Thank you.
Thank you, Regent Illich. Regent Bernstein will now present officer nominations.
To my dear friends and colleagues, Regents Mike Beam and Carl Myers. The Regents' bylaws state that the positions of chair and vice chair rotate annually based on seniority until all members of the board have had the opportunity to serve as chair or vice chair. Following this provision, I move the nomination of Regent Michael Beam as chair and Regent Carl Myers as vice chair of the Board of Regents effective July 1st, 2026 through June 30th, 2027.
Is there a second? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Congratulations to both of you. Now we will have a vote of conflicts of interest. Before we move to the consent agenda, I will call for the vote of conflict of interest items 1 through 7 in section 9, each of which requires 6 votes for approval. Does anyone need recusal from voting on a particular item? Okay, is there a motion to approve?
Motion?
Second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Show of hands, please. Regent Myers? Show of hands. Okay, thank you. The motion carries. Now we turn to the consent agenda, beginning with a report from Chancellor Alexander.
Thank you, President Grasso. One of our lecturers, Professor Emma Davis, in the Department of Fine and Performing Arts, led a collaborative research project that brought together the Detroit Dance Collective, U of M Flint student dancers, and youth from the Genesee County Juvenile Justice Center. The initiative included 12 workshops focused on creative expression, movement, and collaboration, providing opportunities for participants to engage through the performing arts. Throughout the project, university students worked alongside professional artists and community participants, gaining hands-on experience in arts-based engagement and research. The collaboration culminated in a performance presented as part of U of M Flint's Spring Dance Concert, incorporating contributions from all 3 groups. Also, the Department of Psychology partnered with the Girl Scouts of Southeastern Michigan to host its first Mental Health Wellness Day, welcoming 85 Girl Scouts to campus for programming focused on emotional well-being, self-care, and healthy coping strategies. Faculty and students led hands-on sessions to help participants better understand mental health and explore practical tools for maintaining wellness. The event also provided valuable experiential learning opportunities for students, allowing them to apply classroom concepts in a community setting. And finally, the Educational Opportunity Initiatives team hosted its Summer Bridge program starting this month. It's the first one we've had since 2022. We welcomed 29 Flint area high school students to our campus for this residential college readiness experience. The program is designed to support students as they transition from high school to higher education. Participants engaged in activities focused on academic preparedness, skills development, financial literacy, campus resource awareness, and career exploration while building connections with peers and university staff. The experience will culminate with a student showcase highlighting participants' growth and learning. President Grasso, that concludes my campus report. Go Flint and go Blue.
Thank you very much, Chancellor Alexander. Moving on to personnel actions, Provost McCauley has some comments.
Thank you, President Grasso. I'm pleased to recommend the appointment of Dr. Charles Holmes as the next Dean of the School of Public Health for a 5-year renewable term effective July 1st, 2026. He will also hold an appointment as Professor of Epidemiology with tenure. Dr. Holmes comes to us from Georgetown University, where he currently serves as Professor of Medicine and Director of the Center for Innovation in Global Health. He's also a distinguished scholar at Georgetown's O'Neill Institute for National and Global Health Law and a senior advisor to the CEO of the Gates Medical Research Institute. Dr. Holmes has built an internationally recognized career at the intersection of academic medicine, public health, health systems research, and global health policy. His work has focused especially on HIV prevention and treatment, healthcare delivery, and strengthening public health systems in the United States and abroad. Dr. Holmes received his bachelor's degree in biology from Kalamazoo College in 1993 and his MPH in epidemiology and international health from the University of Michigan School of Public Health in 1995. He earned his MD from Wayne State University School of Medicine in 1999. He has held major public service and global health leadership roles, including Chief Medical Officer and Deputy U.S. Global AIDS Coordinator for PEPFAR, which is the U.S. President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, and Chief Executive Officer of the Center for Infectious Disease Research in Zambia. Dr. Holmes is an accomplished physician, scholar, and public health leader with a deep record of service and international impact. His return to Michigan will bring the School of Public Health a dean whose career reflects the breadth, rigor, and public purpose of the field. Thank you.
Thank you, Provost McCauley. There are a number of retirement memoirs this month, and EVP Dr. Miller would like to comment.
Thank you, President Grasso. It is my pleasure to recognize Dr. Gregory Dalek upon his retirement after more than 3 decades of distinguished service to the University of Michigan. Since joining our faculty in 1992, Dr. Dalek has made lasting contributions as a psychiatrist, educator, researcher, and leader. His career reflects an unwavering commitment to advancing mental health care, training the next generation of physicians, and improving the lives of patients. Throughout his tenure, Dr. Dalek held numerous leadership roles, including Associate Chair for Education, Vice Chair, and Chair of the Department of Psychiatry at Michigan Medicine. Under his leadership, the department expanded its research enterprise, strengthened clinical programs, and advanced innovative approaches to behavioral health. Dr. Dalek also played a pivotal role in implementing collaborative care models that have improved access to mental health services across not only our health system, but in fact across the state of Michigan. Beyond his leadership, Dr. Dalek has been a dedicated educator and mentor, helping shape the careers of countless medical students, residents, fellows, and faculty. His impact extends well beyond Michigan medicine through his scholarship, national service, and commitment to excellence in academic medicine. On behalf of Michigan Medicine and the University of Michigan, I want to thank Dr. Dalek for his extraordinary service and congratulate him on a remarkable career. We wish him all the best in retirement. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. This concludes the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve? Second. Okay. All in favor? Okay, thank you. Motion is carried. Moving on to finance and property, I'm pleased to introduce a supplemental item, authorization to name the new U of M Health Sparrow Behavioral Health Building, the Janice M. Granger Behavioral Health Building, in recognition of the Grangers' exceptional generosity to U of M Health Sparrow. EVP Miller, Dr. Miller has some additional comments.
Thank you again, President Grasso. I'd like to take a moment to recognize a truly extraordinary gift that reflects the very best of philanthropy, partnership, and our shared commitment to the people of Michigan. First, I'd like to recognize Dr. Margaret Diamond, president of our University of Michigan Health Regional System, for her exceptional leadership in bringing this transformational gift to fruition. I also want to express our deepest gratitude to Alton Granger and the entire Granger family for their extraordinary generosity and longstanding commitment to the Lansing and Mid-Michigan communities. The Janice M. Granger Behavioral Health Building will be transformative for the region. As behavioral health needs continue to grow across our state, this new facility at the U of M Health Sparrow campus will expand access to compassionate, high-quality care for adults and, for the first time in the Lansing region, for children and adolescents. To the Granger family, Margaret, and everyone who helped bring this vision to life, thank you for your partnership and your unwavering commitment to advancing health for communities across mid-Michigan. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Miller. Is there a motion to approve? Second, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Conflicts of interest, items 1 through 7 were approved earlier in the meeting. Moving on to section 10, the Henry Russell Lectureship and Awards are included in this month's agenda. The Henry Russell Lectureship is the highest honor that the university bestows upon a senior member of its faculty. The Henry Russell Lecture for 2027 will be John Janitas, the Edward E. Smith Distinguished University Professor of Psychology and Neuroscience, acting co-director of the Magnetic Resonance Imaging Facility, professor of radiology in the medical school, and professor of psychology in the College of Literature, Science, and the Arts. EVP Miller has items 3 and 4 that can be taken together. 3 is a dissolution of the Sparrow Health System corporate entity. Dr. Miller, anything to add? Okay. FY 27 Michigan Health Corporation Business Plan. Dr. Miller? Is there a motion to approve? Okay. Second, all in favor? Motion carries. Chancellor Alexander has the next 2 items that can be taken together. Approval of the academic calendar for 2027-28 year at Flint, and the approval of the academic calendar for 2028-29 for U of M Flint. Chancellor Alexander, do you have nothing to add? Is there a motion to approve? Second, all in favor? Motion carries. Next, we have student government reports with CSG President Summit Louth.
Thank you. Thank you. President Grasso, Regents, administrators, faculty, students, members of the public. My name is Summit Louth. I'm from Boulder, Colorado, and I'm a junior at the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor, majoring in Middle East Studies and Political Science. Recently, I was elected by the student body to be the president of our central student government. It is such an honor to attend this incredible university and now to be representing students with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. I'm truly excited to build upon and continue mending the relationship between CSG and the Board of Regents. If you're curious about the initiatives my administration will be prioritizing, please refer to my introductory letter, which can be found in your agenda, although I don't want to lecture you since students get lectured enough. With the short but valuable time I have left, I want to talk about the importance of listening. Many students are not strangers to the tumultuous relationship that has existed between Regents and the student body. Let's not forget that the Black Action Movement issued demands, among them to create tuition waivers and to establish supportive services for incoming Black students, that the Regents had rejected not once, but twice, until finally agreeing on try number 3. I give this anecdote to show that protesting and activism are only present and necessary in the absence of thoughtful listening and dialogue. I have respect for everyone in this room because I know that you wouldn't take a job at a university or run for a frankly unglamorous public office if you didn't want to help students and make this world a better place. I can't wait to work with each of you to ensure that we remain the leaders and best, and I am always a resource for you if you ever want to hear about the experiences of our unrivaled student body. I am likewise always here to listen to your thoughts, your experiences, and your perspectives, and convey them to the students. And while this is not in my remarks, I do want to thank Chair Bernstein for all of his service to the board. While I wasn't here for much of it, I do want to thank you for your service, and I'm so excited to work with all of you over the next year. Thank you.
Regent Bernstein would like to.
Summit, I just wanted to say, you can sit down.
Good, thank you.
Doesn't matter. You can stand or sit or be wherever you want. It was a real joy to spend time with you and Naima and Victoria, I don't know, a week or two ago, and very much looking forward to working together. So.
Yeah. And Summit, I just, first of all, your name for someone from Colorado is amazing. Summit, but no, all joking aside, we've had a couple of great meetings already, and your constituents should already know that your advocacy for them has created real results. And I'll leave it at that, but thank you.
Finally, VP Kinsey will now take us through public comments.
Thank you, President Grasso. We are now moving into the public speaker section of the meeting. As part of their regular meeting agenda, Regents set aside time for individuals to present comments to the board. All public board meetings are formal events convened under Article 8, Section 4 of the Michigan Constitution, and in keeping with reasonable and appropriate norms of decorum, all attendees, including speakers, should treat others with respect and civility. Individuals who are approved to speak will be expected to speak to the topic that was submitted during the registration submission, truthfully disclose any relevant organizational ties during the registration submission, and promptly cease speaking after the allotted time. Unless otherwise noted, each speaker will receive 2 minutes to speak. Speakers who do not adhere to these rules will be precluded from addressing the board at future meetings. Thank you, and with that, I'd like to welcome our first speaker, Juan Cole. Welcome, Juan. And you have 2 minutes to speak when you're ready.
I'm Juan Cole, Distinguished University Professor of History. I teach on the history of climate change, and I am a member of the Broad Voices for Carbon Neutrality community. I thank the Regents for your support for our stellar Sustainability Leadership Council, Shana Weber, Shalonda Baker, and Tony Denton, in reducing our carbon footprint. As someone who has taught undergraduates for 42 years, I take their views seriously. And a recent poll found that 81% are worried about climate change, and 45% considered sustainability in their choice of college. Knowing that their university is addressing the climate breakdown is central to their well-being. Our faculty are responding to this need with more courses on sustainability. Current events have underlined the vulnerability of fossil fuel prices to global conflict, with heating costs soaring. The university has an opportunity to take a giant leap forward toward our energy security by implementing shovel-ready plans such as the visionary heat pump project under Palmer Field. Unlike fossil gas, heat pumps cannot be held hostage by our nation's enemies and can provide affordable heating at a fixed cost for the coming decades, saving tens of millions of dollars and making UM a leader in the field. The Regents have stepped in to provide needed continuity during our leadership transitions. It is important that you act to seize this opportunity without delay. Thank you very much.
Beam.
Juan, I was asked as the incoming chair, what are my priorities? And I just wanted to let you know I've met with Voices for Carbon Neutrality. Carbon neutrality is a very important thing to me, and it will be, in the coming year. And also aligning with that is I feel as though the state of Michigan will become a climate refuge, and that's something we need to, be prepared to address. So thanks for your comments.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome our next speaker, Julia Blau. Hello, Julia. Welcome. And you have 5 minutes to speak when you're ready.
Good afternoon, Regents, President Grasso. I'm here to urge you to restore gender-affirming care for trans patients 18 and under and to fight the Trump administration's attack on trans people's rights. My husband and I came to U of M as freshmen in the 90s. I majored in anthropology and took many classes in this very building. We stayed in Ann Arbor to work and raise our family. We have 2 children, ages 17 and 20. Both of my children were born at U of M. We participated in various developmental studies since my first pregnancy and have continued up to this day with the decades-long adolescent brain and cognition study, or ABCD, with my youngest. We were on campus and on camera so much that I fully expect that one of them will see themselves as a baby in a psych class video someday. My 20-year-old daughter is transgender. When she was 11, she was hospitalized at Mott for suicidal ideation. Nobody could quite figure out what was wrong, but it was clear that there was a tremendous weight on this tiny child. She had gone from being a happy, confident boy to a hunched-up little shell of a person. A few weeks later, she tearfully told me that she thought she was trans. My first call was to the U of M Pediatric Gender Clinic. I vividly remember that call and the tremendous sense of relief that I felt. They were so knowledgeable and so caring. They spent hours with us, and she was referred to an endocrinologist at the clinic. She began puberty pausers and later cross hormones. We got our happy child back. There is no doubt in my mind that this medical care saved her life. I was so relieved to have the leading experts in the world at our doorstep. I heard so many stories from parents around the country of having to drive hours or even travel out of state to receive care. I was sad for them, but proud to be a Wolverine. All of that changed on August 25th of last year, the first day of school for both of my children. I was lucky enough to get a heads up from a friend so I could tell my daughter myself rather than have her see it on the news. There was no more gender-affirming care for minors and 18-year-olds. The university completely bungled this announcement. Parents of minors did not get advance warning and found out on social media or on the news. Families of patients 19 and up, many of whom were still being treated in the pediatric clinic, have had no communication on the subject to this day. The adult gender clinic is full for patients receiving hormonal care, and we were advised to find her ongoing care elsewhere. I was also told that we would receive no notification if our daughter's non-anonymized private medical records are released to the Department of Justice under the subpoena that was filed last summer. Medical consensus has not changed. There is no new evidence that would change gender-affirming care. Not one person at Michigan Medicine or at University of Michigan has said that this is a medical decision. Gender-affirming care is still the standard of care, best practice, and legal. Doctors know that this care saves lives. This is purely a political calculation. U of M must make a public statement explaining that. Other organizations are using U of M's cowardice as an excuse to end their gender-affirming care. When other hospitals and universities have fought back, they have won. Just this week, a federal judge found that the medical records of patients in New York, including at NYU's pediatric gender clinic, may not be shared with the Trump administration. But that ruling only came about because people fought back. Other hospitals, on the other hand, including Cleveland Clinic, are voluntarily sending the DOJ HIPAA-protected records, opening detransition clinics, and paying millions of dollars in fines. There's been zero communication from U of M and Michigan Medicine on this subject. Parents have had no words on plans for last summer's subpoena for records. This is all hanging over families' heads and causing incredible stress. The unrelenting attacks on trans people affect the entire family. Will we have to leave Michigan? Will Trump's policies force our beloved daughter out of the country? Who has access to her medical records? As I wrote back in 2022, today my son told me he's been worried about what would happen if the Texas policies happened here and how he might be left alone. He figured he'd be all right for a while if his sister went to foster care and his dad and I went to jail for a long time, but he would get really sad living by himself. He was 13 years old. My daughter is smart, funny, and insightful. She is in school and working. She is a singer, a reader, curious, politically active. She is a valuable member of the Ann Arbor community. Despite what politicians constantly claim, she is not mutilated. She is not a monster. She is beautiful and wonderful. In past generations, she would have been pushed to the margins of society. Our family is not willing to accept that. We will fight for her and all the other kids like her. So I ask, where are the leaders and best? Why are you not willing to fight for my child? Who is next, and what will you do when Trump comes for you?
Julia, it's great to see you. Like I say, every meeting that you and all of our colleagues come to, thank you for your words. I agree with every one of them. And your advocacy matters, and it's making a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome, Stephen Taylor. Hi, Stephen. Welcome. You have 2 minutes to speak when you're ready.
President Grasso and members of the Board of Regents. I'm Dr. Stephen C. Taylor, and I'm a proud alumnus of the University of Michigan, having received a master's in psychology and a PhD in education and psychology from Michigan. I'm speaking today as a member of Maize and Blue Courage, an organization of U of M alumni and allies advocating for academic freedom at the University of Michigan. Maize and Blue Courage has submitted to you an open letter which has been signed by U of M alumni and allies. The letter expresses our concerns regarding 2 recent attacks on higher education from the Trump administration. One is the creation of new accreditation bodies based on ideological standards, which will force universities to comply with politically driven values. The second is a proposal to codify a process which will require all federal grants, including university research funding, to be approved by political appointees rather than by knowledgeable scientists and experts. The grants would be approved only if they align with administration priorities. What would happen to our legacy as a premier research university if it was controlled by political and corporate interests? We have well-known examples of political and corporate influence research from the tobacco industry with its Tobacco Institute and the American oil industry with its American Petroleum Institute. Both denied legitimate research results, even by their own scientists, and sponsored studies that produced contrived results to support their corporate interests. Maize and Blue Courage, and no doubt so many more alumni, call for you to not allow the Trump administration to change our mission, who we are, and what we stand for. Thank you, and now more than ever, go blue.
Thank you, Stephen. Our next speaker is Austin Glass. Oh, okay. And I'd like to call Rebecca Woodall. Hello, Rebecca, welcome. You have 2 minutes to speak when you're ready.
I'd like to thank you guys for the opportunity to speak. However, I don't need to talk to you anymore. When you guys reviewed why it was that we wanted to talk to you, the best possible outcome happened. Dr. Miller got involved with labor relations and the problem was solved. So I just wanted to say thank you for reviewing what we wanted to talk about, and we're all good. Thank you.
That's good. But I would say that is a good example on how public comments and bringing things to the board and the administration can make a difference. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Kentaro Tayama, welcome. Hi, Kentaro, welcome. You have 2 minutes to speak when you're ready.
Hello, my name is Kentaro Toyama, and I'm tenured faculty at the School of Information in Ann Arbor with a research focus on digital technology's impact on society. I'm the new Faculty Senate Chair as of May, and I have 2 comments. First, I'd like to wish everyone a belated congratulations for awarding our 1 millionth degree last month. When I first heard this, my first reaction was joy. That is an extraordinary achievement and one that we all have contributed to, and we should all be enormously proud. And my second reaction, and I want to say that this was driven purely by intellectual curiosity as an academic, was who else can claim that? Records of cumulative degree granting are spotty, so I spent a perfectly healthy several hours over the weekend doing some research, and here's what I found. Harvard, with a history almost twice as long as ours, has probably not yet granted half as many degrees. The for-profit University of Phoenix claims to have issued over 1 million degrees, but they have a bit of a history of making questionable claims, so who knows? Then there's the University of California system, which has easily graduated a couple million students, but that's not too hard with 10 campuses in a state with 4 times our population. Surprisingly, the one other contender appears to be the University of Indiana, which reached the 1 million degree milestone in 2024. Good for them. We'll see them in the big house. Perhaps more importantly, Michigan State is only at around 700,000, and Ohio State is still under 900,000. Not that anyone is counting. My second comment is a request to the Regents for a dedicated slot at every board meeting this year starting in September, reserved for the Faculty Senate. I know things have been textured with SACU over the last couple of years, but SACU's composition changes each year. I'm hoping for a better relationship, and a better relationship requires good communication. I promise to make it worth your time. I'll be brief, I'll be constructive, I won't read from 17-page resolutions, and if it doesn't work out, you can always cancel our slot. No hard feelings, no resolutions about it, probably. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our final speaker is Jeremy Haley. Welcome, Jeremy. You have 2 minutes to speak when you're ready.
Thank you. Jeremy Haley, Ipsy Township. I don't have the internet, don't have a computer, don't have a printer. All I have is my phone. And what you guys moved is to a system when I called to get records for some information for the Social Security Administration was moved to all pretty much, I got to play phone document Tetris on my phone to see any document on my phone because I don't have a computer. You need to reopen at least a partial portion of the records office where a person can actually go in and talk to a person, fill out the documentation, fill it there, have them look at it and say it's fine. Now I'm being sent forms that I have to fill out, send back, that I don't know if it's right, that if I have to keep redoing it until it's correct. It's really horrible customer service. You all say you're leaders, act like it. Right now you're acting like sheep. You're just doing what everybody else is doing. You're following the herd. Next complaint. When I call the records person, the person's at home. My question is, how does that fall under HIPAA violations? He's or she's at home, I call. Well, I know some people that do work from home from U of M, and I was told that they sign a document for confidentiality for HIPAA for them working at home. Yes, they have a secure server. They also said that when they sign that document, it envelops anybody in that home, which tells me that, yes, people in that home can see or hear any information that person is working on, which could be a violation of HIPAA. Okay? Is that true? I mean, would you guys be willing to write a letter that's saying 100% guarantee that nobody at home will, by accident, hear or see any patient's information? From where I'm sitting, they can. And from what I've been told, that's true, because that's what they were told. And that needs to change, because it's horrendous to do that to people, because it's unsecure. You don't know, they should be in a building. I would feel better if they were all in a building surrounded by other U of M employees where no public could be involved. But that's just my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. This concludes the public speakers.
Thank you, VP Kinsey. This meeting is adjourned.